Hi, freaks. Welcome to another episode. My name is Matt. Joining me is the lovely Sue. How are we, Sue?
I am good, thank you very much.
That's very good. And also joining us with his pink background is Nathan. Hey, Nathan.
Hi, how are you, Matt?
I'm good, thank you. So,
Just checking on you.
we're three horror movie friends that have known each other since film school, which was many, many years ago. And we're getting together to review a horror movie that we have chosen. And this horror movie fits into our trilogy of sci-fi horror films. This is the last in the sci-fi horror film. We're calling it like a, what is it?
Collection.
A collection? Yeah.
Genre? Collection's good.
So should we get into it?
That's
Yep.
good.
Great.
Mhm.
So tonight we're going to be looking at Xtro, which is the 1982 film. It's a British film, which is nice to see something that's other than from America or Australia.
Yeah.
It's directed by Harry Bromley Davenport, sorry, from the House of Davenport, and Ian Casey and Michael Parry. So, shall we have a little run through of the plot? So, we're going to do it a bit different tonight and run through the plot at the beginning, just to give it a bit of an overview rather than going through every single scene in the film. And then we'll go into what we liked and didn't like after this. Okay?
Okay.
Sounds good.
Somewhere in the British countryside, Sam is abducted by an alien while his son watches. Fast forward 3 years, and Sam returns to Earth via a disturbing rebirth, and sets about looking for his wife Rachel and their son Tony.
You're back. Back from where?
Unfortunately for Sam, Rachel has started a new life with family friend Joe, causing her to question which man she truly loves. However, the love triangle is interrupted when it becomes apparent that Sam has other plans for his family. The live-in babysitter becomes an alien egg machine, and Tony develops the ability to bring his toys to life, which doesn't end well for the nosy neighbour. In the end, the father and son mutate into an alien form and head out into space, leaving Rachel behind. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a flavour of Xtro. So hopefully you've watched Xtro as well, because we will be discussing spoiler plot points throughout our review. So if you haven't watched it, it's probably best to stop now and rewatch it later. While we are live now, you can rewatch it on our YouTube channel. So, where should we start? This is an interesting film, I feel.
It's a very interesting film. This was
Yeah.
not quite what I expected.
So,
Took me a little while getting into it, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
I was kind of hooked from the beginning, really.
Nathan, do you normally like British? Like, do you have a preference?
I don't have anything against British films. They obviously have a very different feel to the American ones. Although this one, it just felt the beginning, actually probably most of it, just felt a bit cheap. But I don't know if that's just the time, like the era of it. But yeah, it was shot, especially in the beginning, it felt very much like a student film.
Oh, yeah.
The style of the acting, the way they'd sort of done effects and like cutaways, you don't really see what's going on, and it just seemed very cheap.
I mean, like, if you think back to other films from 1982 or around that era, like the early Friday the 13th, maybe not Halloween, but I thought that it was kind of a similar vein, maybe Black Christmas, which was 70s, but it kind of had that feeling to me. I mean, yes, it was low budget, but that's kind of what those video nasties were. And
Yeah, and
I
video
feel
nasty is a good
less-
description for it.
Less student to me and more indie.
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the last
Like,
film, like
like,
Extraterrestrial,
like-
was very student, whereas this one felt more indie. But I think for me,
feel-
like, you know what, you guys know what I like, which is like 80s B grade horror films. So I'm always going to be biased. So you don't normally like British stuff. Well, I think you've warmed to it as times progress, but previously you
have.
didn't like British stuff that much. It wasn't your
I
preference.
still don't care for, like, I don't think British humor always translates well for me. So a lot of the comedy shows or those kind of shows don't really work for me. And because I lived there, I had my fill of like British football and things like that. Like,
Married
really
to a
don't need
British lad.
Yeah.
I could have scarred you for life.
And I don't know, the British horror books that I've read have been very subdued, like a lot of description, and then the horror is kind of muted in a way. It's like they're too polite for me in some ways, but I didn't feel that about this.
This wasn't really polite. I don't think polite and this film could go together.
No. But I did like the very beginning when the dad's like playing with the dog in the background. He was literally dancing with the dog in the background, like holding his legs and dancing around the dog. What was the dog's name? Katie.
Yeah, Katie. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, it felt very British, like the beginning of a British TV show to me, that kind of thing. So I was like waiting for the horror to get cracking and do away with that, to be honest. But when he throws the stick, like that was impossibly high. Yeah. What were you aiming? The dog's supposed to run over the top of the house.
That's true.
Random stuff like that.
Yeah, some of the things that they did in the movie, it didn't feel like real. It just felt very over the top and very campy. Actually, not even campy, just very over the top. That said, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. It's fun in its own way.
I think it was very camp and cheesy and totally embraced that, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
As long as it embraces that that's the style.
Yeah.
But was that camp and cheesy or in its day, or is that just how they did things in its day?
Well, I did see an interview with the director, and he said that it was like terrible. Like this movie was terrible. Like he was on board with it. Like he really enjoyed the film, I think now. But he would happily admit that it was a piece of shit. The director is like I would recommend like looking at some interviews with the director on YouTube, because he is a very quirky character, like a very this is behind baseball or whatever you call it, but he's very David and Andrew, like two nerdy guys who were quite brilliant in what they did in our film school, but they were very wanted to be British and very eccentric, and that's what this director is like.
Okay.
I liked the woman at we have to talk about that scene, but the woman in that scene when she's sort of getting ready and she's in her nightgown or whatever, and her dog hears something and runs out. I like the way that she acted like the person would actually act. Like, I like that she opened the door and was like, what do you think you're doing? Get inside.
Yes.
That kind of thing. Like, she actually gave a shit about her dog. And then she locked everything like you would. Like so many in movies where they're scared, but they don't lock the doors or shut the windows or, I liked that. And all her lights were on. It wasn't your usual setup.
Yeah.
And then
so you're talking about the bit where the dad is rebirthed?
Yes.
Sam.
I mean, I think I actually did sit up and went, Jesus fucking Christ. Sorry.
But also, like, it was done in a quite, like, there was, they showed nudity, but that wasn't done in any sort of, like, I didn't feel like she was exploited at all.
Titillating.
That wasn't sexualized.
No. And so, Nathan, what was your favourite scene or favourite moment in the film?
I guess that was probably one of them. I mean, the movie, for me, felt like I guess, homage to a few other movies that had come before it, like Alien. So, obviously, there's, like, the whole concept of some alien creature birthing something else, which then latches onto your face and impregnates you in a different kind of way, but same kind of way. And then when that lady got, after she had the thing on her face for a bit, and eventually that let go, and suddenly she's writhing around the kitchen like she's got a bad cramp, but she's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then she falls over, and I don't know what happened to her clothes, but they just...
No, she was wearing like a kimono sort of thing, wasn't she? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
she's very prepared for it.
Yeah, and then you see her stomach getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you see something trying to basically crawl out of her. So they've done away with chest bursters like an alien. This is probably a little bit more creepy because they went a different route. Like a grown man crawling out of a woman. That was just weird, and I thought it was fantastic.
You didn't expect it to be a man. I thought an alien or something would come out. So even more like what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just gets straight up and can walk and everything straight away. Because usually when someone's born, they need to find their feet for a little bit. But then straight away goes and basically has a shower and tries using the phone.
But I liked that this is an alien abduction, but we do see he's taken away by a flash of light and kind of returned in a flash of light.
Yeah.
But he's not returned in the ordinary fashion that he comes down from a spaceship. There's a weird embryonic phase, then goes to attacks the woman, and then he's birthed out of that, and that's how he returns. Who even thinks of that? That's...
I don't know. I didn't completely understand all the sort of mythology around what was happening, to be honest. But then I sort of stopped trying and just went, it's nuts. I'm just going to enjoy what happens on the screen because I can't quite figure out exactly, where all these things came from. I liked, when I liked that the wife had her husband, her second husband.
Yeah.
And they had this really healthy sex life, which I like that they put that in there. But then what's the son's name? Tony?
Tony,
because they say it all the time.
Tony.
When he woke up with all that blood all over him, and everyone's like, yeah, we don't know where that came from. All right, off to bed.
Yeah, no, then.
Well, I think I'd be slightly more, because there was a lot of...
To be fair, they did call the doctor.
Yeah, but then he said, I don't think it's his, so we'll just let that go.
He's like, okay, have a shower, we'll go back to bed. Don't worry about whose blood it is.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just leave that on. Oh, no, we'll just leave that. We'll just move on. It's fine.
So should we move on to the cast? Did you have any standouts, Sue, of who impressed you?
Not that I can... There wasn't anyone that I thought was particularly amazing.
See, I thought the mom, Rachel, who was played by, let me check IMDb, Bernice, is it Stigers? I thought she was really good. I don't think she had a really interesting look. She kind of looked a bit mannish, baby. It's not your typical sort of leading lady.
No, she looked very real.
And I really liked her conundrum of oh, your husband's gone, so then you hook up with your family friend, and then your husband's back. And I thought that was really believable and quite interesting, that part of the story.
Yeah, especially because the husband had been gone for 3 years. So fair enough, she's going to move on. And she doesn't know that he's been abducted by aliens. She just thinks he just left them. So that's perfectly reasonable that she would move on. But then when he turns up and she still has feelings for him, she's conflicted.
Yeah, but she didn't completely fall back into it either. She was like, I'm having feelings, but I still do love my new person as well. So, she didn't just drop him and go with him or vice versa.
Yeah.
So you're right.
I thought it was quite believable, and I thought she sold it. As a Bond fan, I did like, is it Miriam
Annalise?
Diablo?
I was thinking about Annalise, but
is that who it was? I was trying to place her.
Yeah, because I knew her face. But the guy she hooked up with, I kept getting him and the boyfriend mixed up.
I did in the beginning. In the beginning, I thought, oh, she's having a thing with
ugly guys,
Yeah.
They look too similar. They should have done one blonde or, I don't know, something different, or, a different nationality or something.
That one was English though, wasn't he?
The same guy.
That when they were English?
Joe was New Yorker, wasn't he? He's American.
Yes. Yeah. But unless he spoke, you know.
Yeah,
really
they look the same.
But I do love The Living Daylights was one of my first James Bonds, so she really stuck out to me. But then to see her dancing around naked,
Her end.
yes, that where she's like
Gross.
becomes the alien egg machine, like.
Yeah, that was gross. I know. I'm like, ew.
Again, though, that's where they've borrowed parts from Alien, where they actually abduct and cocoon people. But what I heard, that I guess with this movie, it didn't really make much sense. Like you said, Sue, it's like I couldn't really figure out what the process was. The Alien is like, okay, then you go from the egg, then you go that, then you get the hugger, then it impregnates you, and then you get the chest burster, and then the cycle continues. But with this, I couldn't quite figure out. It's like, all right, we've got cocoons, we've got face-hugging things that come from eggs. Then we've got men that crawl out of vaginas, and sometimes turn into alien-looking things. Sometimes on 4 legs, like something out of The Thing. And I just didn't quite get the, I don't know, what's the word, the mythology that they created.
Yeah, the mythology just didn't really, it wasn't clear.
That's what I loved about
but
it.
I did like the guy.
The
Yeah, it didn't bother me. Like, when I tried to think about it, it bothered me, but I was like, well, it's not a movie that requires.
Can we talk about
thinking, so
Tony and his abilities to bring his toys to life?
Yes. I
that
was curious about that. Like the dwarf clown. What the fuck? But I'm glad that Harry got revenge. Like, you know, that bitch upstairs that killed that snake.
Oh, the main lady.
Bitch. Oh my God. I was like, kill her.
Yeah.
Kill
I was
her.
waiting for something to happen to her for quite a while. It's like right from the beginning we saw her, and then we saw her in a couple of other scenes. It's like, oh, you're going to get yours, nosy neighbor lady.
It sounds like a little boy's pet, knowing
Yeah.
whose it is, and then delivers it to their house. Like, what a bitch.
So here's the corpse of your pet. Don't worry, I'll wash it up for
Tony,
you.
it's all right, Tony. I'm
That's
sorry.
horrible. Oh, Tony. Poor Tony. I mean, I think Tony did the right thing. She deserved it.
Yeah, but that it was just so bizarre. Like, I'm thinking of the scene where the boyfriend like is being stalked by, at first, the remote control tank, which comes to life and shooting bullets, and then a panther. Where did the panther come from?
Where did the panther come from? No.
So
I think that maybe they were taking a few mushrooms or tabs or something like this while they were writing and making this movie, because there was definitely some trippy bits.
well, the director said that
It was. And like the yo-yo.
the director said that the studio head only had one stipulation about the film, that it had to have a Black Panther in it. They didn't care like whether it fitted into the story or not. So the Black Panther was in there.
Pick that box.
Yeah, done.
Oh my Lord. Seriously.
Wow.
Because that wouldn't have been cheap.
Okay.
No.
No. You think they would have integrated it somehow, though, by like maybe they had a black house cat and he created it into a panther,
Or like a toy,
Well,
like cat.
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of a sudden the
we
panther
saw the
was
other
there.
things that they sort of came from toys to begin with, but we're just filling the gaps for this one. And back to the nosy neighbor as well, how we see, I guess, an army type guy going after
Action
that
man.
to me, that seems very Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's I think another reason why, like, obviously I like 80s horror, like B grade, but obviously I'm also a Doctor Who fan, if you didn't know. The music was very 80s Doctor Who, that sort of very synthesizer music, which is very jarring, and you only hear it in the 80s. Like, after 1989, you never heard that synthesizer type music again.
Now
it's done.
tired.
But yeah, there was lots of Doctor Who vibes in it. But it
it was it's an interesting film. I did like the effects of the alien when he was on
That
fours,
was creepy.
and when I really looked at it, it's like a person sitting like this, right, with their I think it was really well done, considering I thought it was quite creepy looking, to be honest. If I saw that thing running down the street, I'd be freaked out.
It was creepy, but is that also because you hardly got to see it, so your brain didn't really quite register what you saw or how it fitted in? It's just like, what the fuck was that?
But which is smart indie filmmaking.
It reminded me of one of our favourite scenes of 70s horror, which was the Body Snatchers, where they put the plastic face on the dog, and
Yeah.
that is so
Yes.
creepy, like simple yet effective. And I thought that this was the same. Like it's so weird that you can see that it's like some contorted body, like, but to put the mask on back to front so it's looking the other way was just so creepy. Even though you knew what it was like that's just creepy.
Yeah. It was
It
creepy.
was very
You can just
effective.
imagine
I
it
like
moving,
that.
like it's ugh.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my favorite bits, actually.
Yeah, same. I thought that was really well done.
What did you think?
Is there a sequel?
So there's 3.
Sorry,
It's a trilogy, and apparently they're trying to get another one off the ground, but none of them are related.
Wow.
So they sort of took the name Xtro. I think the director of this one directed the second one. But they don't carry on, and apparently they get worse and worse as they go on.
Actually, on that though, the name Xtro. What is an Xtro? Who is Xtro? Why is Xtro?
I think it's meant
I
to be
don't
like
know.
extraterrestrial, but yeah, they don't really mention it in the film at all.
No.
It sounds, I remember thinking when I was younger, because I remember the advert for it, and I remember the video cover, like the VHS cover, and how it looked terrifying. It really scared me. And I remember thinking it looked really extreme, like that X and the writing and stuff. To me, it just seemed like the next level horror.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that was my impression when I was a kid.
one of the things that I hate, and we were talking about this off air a few weeks ago, is that sort of body horror and like gross skin conditions. And when the dad was like sucking on the son's neck with that like
that
pastry looking thing, and then the son was sucking on the nanny's like it's making my like scalp itch. Like it's just gross just thinking about it. I think that
body horror works so well.
Yeah, because it makes you think like that, relating to your own body. It's like, I can imagine like all my veins all bursting, or someone sucking on me, and have that. I mean, when the boy was getting all, I don't know, probed or eaten or sucked from the dad or whatever, and his eyes were all rolling around, that was kind of creepy in itself.
I mean, the birth scene was enough for me as a woman, I got to say.
A grown man crawling out, and there was tearing going on there.
Yes, tearing. All the tearing.
He's gonna need some stitches.
What do we think of the snake egg scene?
Oh,
that was so disgusting. That made me feel sick, actually.
Yeah, it made me
look
feel
at
sick.
white Cadbury cream eggs.
They were grey. It was grey inside. It was like,
Yeah.
The snake was featured way too much for my liking.
Yeah.
I know, because I was worried because it's an old school horror, and I was worried they would actually kill the actual snake, but I don't believe they did, because they cut away from that scene.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was
And there
going
are
to be
a
like
few
Friday
bits
the
where I
13th.
saw,
Yeah.
a few bits where they showed the snake, and I was trying to figure out if it was real or not. But then it always moved. It's like, no, it's still there, still alive, still real. But yeah, the egg thing, they never really explained that. It's like, Dad, what are you doing? It's like, I'm different.
I might use that like anytime I get caught doing anything I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm different.
And the same thing is like when the dad, like, he's just like sniffing gas just because he's different.
Yeah, they never really explain that either. I love that about this film is that they never explain a lot of shit. It's like, yeah, he sniffs gas.
It's just like, this happened, and then some weird shit. Like that's the explanation. Weird things happened. All right, we made it out.
Going back to the start of the film, like where that couple like bumps into the alien embryo thing across the road, and then the guy comes out and like throws stuff in his eyes.
Yeah, I couldn't get what that was. Was it something that?
Under here or something, wasn't it? Under.
At first, I was writing in my notes. It's like, what is that? It's like, was it like a tongue thing that lashed out like a frog tongue, or is it like spitting something? Or
never seen again.
And then the woman, she's like disemboweled in the car.
Yeah,
but they didn't disembowel anyone else really. And
I thought that was cool how she like wrapped her foot around the steering wheel. Like, that was very clever.
Trying to not get abducted.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some bits that I thought were like, you could see that this could actually have been like a good film. Not saying it was a bad film, but it wasn't. Yeah, you know what I mean. But this could have been a different film, I guess, and a more serious one if they wanted
I think this
to.
could have been a next level film from B grade to A grade.
Or B plus at least.
If they just at least thought about things a little bit more and like just like
Chilled a bit.
chilled, like we don't need to do everything. Maybe like cut back a little bit and maybe explain a few things.
No, we want all the ideas, chuck in all the ideas and freak people out.
It was like you said, Nathan, like they got really stoned and sat around and went, this would be really cool, and this would be really cool, and then just chucked it all in the film.
What about if they go back to the scene of the crime in the country and then they have sex and he then starts de-evolving into some weird alien thing mid-climax?
I know.
Isn't that terrifying? That not only did your husband return, but now he's turning into an alien while he's inside you. It's like, gross.
Yes, I know, it's fine. Yeah, I know, and it looked like someone had thrown paint on him. That was very sad. I don't want to talk about it.
I thought he was good. Philip Sayer, who played Sam, I think he died. Like,
Except for the dancing with the dog at the beginning. That was never believable.
When
he was a normal person,
everyone dances with their dog, Sue. I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's try to see Matt do it.
I just liked how random it was, just in the background. It wasn't even the scene. Like he went, "Yay, let's dance."
I reckon that was like in between takes.
Probably.
No one's talking about how the boy Tony didn't age in 3 years. That the shock of his dad being abducted.
I just assumed
really
that was a
stunted
side
his
effect
growth.
of whatever he saw the show.
Oh, that's funny. That's terrible. I didn't even pick up on that. You are correct. That's hilarious.
Meanwhile, the mum's gone and moved on and found a new partner and things, and
he
we still don't know where the dad went or whatever happened to him. He just came back different.
Yeah, well, I mean,
same.
Tony's different, and he hasn't even been anywhere, but he can control things with his mind and piss blood. So
he has heavy flow days.
Christ. That was like
heavy flow.
Yeah, the blood was too red though. It didn't look real.
It didn't look real at all.
Yeah.
No, especially when Nosy Neighbor Bitch got killed. Nosy
Neighbor Bitch. And that's what she was billed as in the film.
Nosy Neighbor Bitch.
That's what I'd call her.
But all right, in that scene, it's like, all right, there's the army guy coming in after her, looking all very Doctor Who, and she's like hiding behind the furniture. Then he sees her arm reach out to grab a chocolate. Which
I'm so peckish. It could be my last chocolate.
I see you, lady. If she hadn't reached out for that chocolate in that moment, she might still be alive.
No, but you know, like you do those irrational things, like you see it there and it's like just in your head, it's like, don't touch the chocolate, don't touch the chocolate, don't touch. I'm going to have a chocolate.
Oh, just one.
One chocolate. How can you resist it? He figured he was also probably eating the chocolate. Fine.
Afterwards, we never saw what happened after he killed her.
Oh, he scoffed that chocolate.
He scoffed those chocolates.
He did. Even the one that was half eaten in her mouth. I'm sure he did.
That's what it was all about, really. Was there any anyone that didn't meet up to your expectations? Or was it the whole cast?
I didn't think any of them were bad.
No.
They weren't all particularly good, but they were, again, of their time, and it sort of fitted in with the genre.
I thought the model with the shoe.
That's what I was about to say, yeah.
Paula. Yeah, she wasn't the best.
She was like,
Most of the time we didn't even see her, we just heard her muttering in the background.
Tony, no, what was Joe. What was her name, Paula? What was her?
Why was she dressed like in that fancy outfit when it was just a photo of her shoe?
Yeah.
Why is she there in like lingerie for a photo?
She's just getting into character of being a glamorous model.
Her name was Vanya Seeger, and that's the only film that she's on IMDb for. Oh no, she was in For Your Eyes Only, so she's another Bond girl, but she was uncredited as the girl who kisses henchmen.
Oh.
So she's very Bond girl.
Let's hope she did that more believably.
Yeah, she wasn't good, but I thought everyone else did a good job.
Yeah, everyone was like appropriate for the level of the film. Like there wasn't anyone who was an Oscar winner, but there also wasn't
That's
anyone
how I
who
want to
sucked
be
in.
referred to in my job review. You were appropriate.
Appropriate. That's what I say when I go for
Competent.
You were competent.
You did a
That's my
competent
level
job.
of competency. My level of competency is appropriate for the level.
So if we go now to the end of the film, so what's his name?
Or the eggs.
Sam starts really de-evolving and becoming an alien creature with a bug.
Almost.
With the claw, like a cockroach. What
Very
did
Men in Black.
what did you think of that part at the end of the film?
I didn't really understand why that was happening. It just suddenly quickly evolved into some alien insect type creature. It just happened. We just had to go with it.
But Tony did as well.
Yeah, I guess Tony was.
Yeah,
but then when
right.
Joe went chasing them, and he does this scream noise, and Joe's ears all bleed, and I'm assuming he died from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I thought a bit sad for Joe.
He got the raw end of the deal.
He really did. He didn't ask for any of this shit. Like, really, it's not fair. But I did like that they were sort of, I was going to say brave enough, but I mean, they've done all sorts of things. Obviously, there's no limit. But I liked that they were fine with the kid turning into an alien and getting on the ship and going. Because normally children are still thought of as a little bit precious in films. And
less so now, but definitely back then. My take on the whole film is that he gets kidnapped, then back on Xtro world, he's like missing his family. So they go, okay, we'll send you back and you can bring your family back. So they send him back. Then he sees that she's like happy with Joe. So he just converts the kid into the alien. And then the kids acclimatize to the alien world because the alien world's obviously like gas for atmosphere. And so, takes the kid home, fully prepared to live on planet Xtro.
But at the same time, impregnating the wife when he gets a chance.
So let's talk about the very ending. What the fuck was that about? There's two different endings. So I struggle to remember which was the correct ending, but what did you think of the very ending when she got back to the house?
And she found the bath the fridge full of, there was the fridge full of eggs. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like water balloon, eggplanty type egg things with pulsating bits on the inside, which were kind of actually quite good.
I thought they were good. I thought they were effective.
Well,
yeah.
And also to have the fridge, like, so the midget or the little person.
I know, I don't.
The little clown.
The little person pushed the fridge onto its side, and then to put the eggs in there to keep the eggs cold.
Put something in there, some sort of sludgy thing. And
we don't know what that is. So the eggs, they come from the cocoon French girl in the bathroom.
Bond girl.
And then he takes them into the kitchen and puts them into slime in the fridge.
It was quite a process. It was like a factory, a baby egg factory. And then we'd seen that this time it didn't need a full-grown alien, but just the egg could throw out the...
that's true.
Probe.
The probe.
It felt a little...
thing.
I don't know. I thought it wasn't quite believable, but it seemed to me that they wanted that kind of ending. So
Did you watch the other ending? So the other ending's kind of the same, but she comes back and there's all these Tonys. There's like a kitchen full of Tonys, still in that white kitchen, and then they all sort of converge on her. So that was the original ending, and then the producer didn't like it, so they went back and did the sucker on the face.
Oh, okay. Because that's the ending that I saw, the sucker on the face one.
Same. But I think I would prefer the Tonys, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit creepier.
Yeah.
Well, that said, the sucker on the face, it got me thinking, all right, that was a creepy scene in itself. But then who's she going to give birth to? Does she give birth to another Sam? Or does she give birth to her son because he got disappeared? And so she gives birth to him again?
Why do you think she's pregnant?
Well, because that's what happened to the other lady at the farm to begin with. She got the face sucker thing on.
Oh, you mean
she got pregnant.
I thought you meant from when she got it on with her.
Well, she might have gotten double pregnant.
Double pregnant.
I don't know how this works.
It's doesn't always happen first time, you know.
I was expecting something to crawl out of her, and I don't know if it's going to be a husband or a son
Yeah.
or someone all new together.
It's going to be one of those on all fours things. Or is it just going to be eggs again?
More eggs.
No, eggs don't come out of vaginas. Eggs come out of cocoons.
Oh, God. I
With
don't
special little egg shoot.
Yeah, the little egg shoot was gross.
The shoot was revolting.
With little clown man, he just picks them up carefully.
No, I couldn't quite figure out what part of her body is. I don't know.
It was gross.
The egg shoot. So egg shoot.
And like how they saw it through that, you know, afro that she had growing down there. I mean,
she did. We didn't talk about the true nightmare that was her bush.
turn around and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Oh dear. We've gone down that path. So should we talk about our final thoughts? So, Sue, do you want to go first? Okay, Nathan, go first.
Oh no, I need Sue to go first. I'm still compiling mine.
Well, I guess to sum it up, for me it was a crazy ride with some very good body horror and some pretty good practical effects. I thought the alien was creepy, and I thought they'd made the most of their obviously limited budget. But it was batshit crazy, and I didn't understand what was happening a lot of the time. But I still kind of dug it.
There's a Pash?
It's a Pash.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why, but it was fun.
I don't know why I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it.
Nathan.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, again, it felt very sort of cheap to begin with. It took me a little while to get into it because that opening scene, that was a little bit painful for me, the way they made it. But then I got intrigued with just like the weirdness and again, the practical effects, like Sue said. I thought that was actually really good and a little bit disturbing and freaky. I enjoyed the trippy bits. Again, I didn't really understand what was happening, but I just went for the ride with it. I enjoyed the B-gradeness of it. I imagine it would be a good film enjoyed with a few extra drinks or substances to make it maybe more enhanced. Overall, though, look, it's a trashy movie. I didn't love it. I don't think I would say, oh, this is like a favorite movie. I've got to watch it again and recommend it to people. So I would say it's trash, but it wears its trash on its sleeve. It's very trashy and proud.
Wow. So one trash, one Pash. Very interesting. So yeah, for me, I was excited to see this film because, like we discussed, this is one of those VHSs that had sat on the shelf with that weird cover, and that had always intrigued me. But for some reason, we'd gone through every single other horror movie and never picked this up. So I thought that that was a red flag. So I wasn't expecting a lot, but for me, it ticked all of my boxes, and I don't know how I hadn't seen this before. It's British, which I love. British sci-fi, British horror. It was unlike last week's film. It really didn't seem like it was trying to be anything other than what it was. Like, they did some really ingenious things, like we discussed with Back to Front Alien. I thought that their practical effects were pretty good. It did go a bit overboard with the whole fantasy thing, which kind of did lose me a bit. But it did pick up with I thought the acting was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought the music was jarring and really awfully great. So for me, it ticked all the boxes. And unlike Nathan, I really want to watch this again. Like, it's one of those ones that I think will be on my playlist of B-grade horrors. So I'll be recommending this one. For me, it's a Pash.
Ooh, 2 Pashes, 1 trash. That said, it wasn't a bad trash.
Oh, don't try to explain it now,
It was an honourable
Nathan.
trash.
Commit to the trash.
It was a trash. Definitely trash.
So that's interesting that we've all we've seen had different views. It's always good when we're not all on the same page. So another week of split views with Nathan getting it wrong. So that was Xtro. What did you guys think? Have you seen Xtro? We managed to get a copy on YouTube. I'm not sure how long that'll stay there. You can also see the alternate ending. I found that on YouTube, and some great interviews with the director, which was on YouTube. So look for those. I really recommend it, as I said. So that brings our sci-fi, horror, fantasy to an end. So I think this is something that we will revisit in the new year. We're talking about The Blob is quite a good one. So maybe some horror invasion. Have we reviewed Body Snatchers before on the channel?
I don't think we have.
I think so. That's another collection to open up then.
Yeah, maybe some alien, some invasion stories.
Yeah.
But next week we've got picking up something that originally our first review was Friday the 13th. So we're picking up on that 5 years later. And we're going to be reviewing Friday the 13th part 2, 3, and 4 over the next couple of months. So watch along with us. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook, which you can just search under Horror Movie Freaks, or on Twitter, which our handle is Horror Movie. Give us some love there. And also remember to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified when we go live. We go live every other Thursday. It's normally around about 8 o'clock Adelaide time. 8:30, isn't it, Sue? Eastern Standard Time?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent. Great. So, let us know. We'd really love to know what you think. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.